And welcome to the post-game Coach's Corner. I'm the Coach Dick Cox, joined by Coach Barry Toney. Well, Coach Toney, we saw an ugly SEC football game today here at Williams-Brice Stadium. Oklahoma came in after a disappointing loss to Texas last week and just totally dominated the Gamecocks today here in Williams-Brice Stadium and came away with a 26-7 victory.
You're right there, Coach. The Sooners, they pretty much dominated in all the phases of the game, didn't they? Offense, defense, and special teams.
Yes, they did. And a couple things that really jumped out to me during the game. Well, first of all, Oklahoma took the opening kickoff. South Carolina won the toss and deferred, and that's the second time this year that they've done that. Same thing happened against Vandy. And both times these teams took it all the way down and got a touchdown the first play of the game. But South Carolina got the ball on their first drive, drove all the way down inside the Oklahoma 10, and on 4th down and 4, rather than kicking the field goal, Beamer said he felt like that they had a good play call, which it didn't gain anything. It was not a good play. And that even if they didn't get it, then the defense would be in good position maybe to get it back, though. But it didn't work after the good opening drive, maybe to tie it. South Carolina passed up the field goal and got nothing.
That's right there, Coach. It just seemed like, throughout the entire game, things that Carolina could not do, Oklahoma could do, and they did with high efficiency.
Well, this is something that really jumped out at me when I was looking differences in the game. South Carolina did not convert their first third down of the game until 10 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the game, and they were 0 for 10 at that point. And basically, I think only got 2 more conversions when the backup quarterback, we saw Woods come in for the first time at quarterback to finish the game, though. Oklahoma, on the other hand, they were 8 out of 15 on the day converting third downs.
Yeah, that's great. 50%. The thing about the Gamecocks, too, by not converting, that was bad for them, too, for one, not moving the chains. And on the other hand, that made their defense have to stay on the field much longer, too, the Gamecocks did.
Linares Sellers was just physically abused today. That he was 17 out of 25 passing for only 124 yards, and just did not have any time at all to throw the ball today. And he ran 14 times for -9 yards. That's not Linares Sellers' numbers.
No, it's not their coaching. In actuality, he probably ended up, running a whole lot more than that, because a lot of times he was trying to evade the Oklahoma tacklers and before they would get him.
Another stat really jumped out on me. Oklahoma had 13 tackles for loss today for a total of 68 yards. And I can't tell you, it was almost like watching a Roadrunner cartoon where South Carolina just kept going for it on 3rd or 4th and short and whatever, and a yard to go, and just kept trying to run it up the middle. And it was like running into a brick wall every time they did.
A lot of time when they did that, there'd be an 8-man front that Oklahoma would be designated.
Again, did not make a whole lot of sense on that, though. There was no hole for doing that. But, every time South Carolina, and the one South Carolina score that they had today came on a 4th down conversion when Linares Sellers had to get out of traffic and a rush coming and was lucky enough to find Nick Harbor in the end zone, but that was almost kind of a fluke that they even scored that one.
That's right, and Coach, Oklahoma aided that by having 2 pass interference calls, inside the 30 going into the end zone.
South Carolina today rushed 32 times. I believe it's 1 point. Let me see if it's changed any looking at my final stats.
It's less than 2, wouldn't it?
Yeah. They averaged, it was 32 times for 41 yards rushing. At 1 point, I think it did get a little bit better when Oklahoma put the 2nd, 3rd string. They finished with 34 carries for 54 yards. And that's not going to win football. No. That is a little over 1 point something yards per carry. And on the other hand, and again, Oklahoma did not put up really monster numbers right here. They did come out that they had 20 first downs today. They on total offense today, they had 67 plays for only 319 yards. And South Carolina ran 67 plays for 224 yards. So, but again, the
Coach,
defense was the difference in the
Coach,
game.
that's what we've been saying all along. You know, to be able to win consistently in the SEC, you've got to have the ability to run the football, stop the football rush. Also, you got to have some depth, of course, turnovers and all, but everything that you need to win, Oklahoma by all means did.
South Carolina, again, like we said, had 3 offensive linemen out today and lost 3 more starting linemen out during the game. So basically, they were playing guys really far down the depth chart getting in the game. Dylan Stewart got hurt on the first series of the game with a hip injury, came back in, tried to come back in later and only lasted a play. He got hit on it again, so his status for next week's game against Alabama is not known right now, though. But it is a very banged up, demoralized South Carolina football team right now.
And Coach, this is, you know, mid-season already, almost, you know, halfway over, and then like you said, Bama comes to town, and they may be on as hot as roll as any team in the country.
So again, we'll have to see. You know, South Carolina last year, it was after a very disappointing loss, similar to the one today in performance that they had with Ole Miss, that their season started turning around. And maybe they can get some people healthy, and maybe they can, you know, see if they can do that. But, you know, I think it's going to be a tough road for them to get to 6 wins to even get bowl eligible.
It's going to be extremely difficult. You know, you and I have talked. You know, next week it's got Bama. The following week, you know, I believe they're going to Ole Miss, and then they have to go to A&M, and then got Coastal Carolina here, and then they got Clemson here the last 2 weeks in November.
They've got to try to win 1 out of these next 3 ball games, I think, to have a chance at even going to postseason play.
Because the way they say it, unless there's some underlying rules, most times you have to have won at least 6 games.
And again, even if they win 1 out of the next 3, then they still, I think, would have a chance and probably would be favored at beating Coastal Carolina and Clemson here at home,
probably,
which is no gimme on that last game of the year anyway. So not a good day today that the fans got to go early to the state fair right across the street over there.
There was a lot of activity, and you could hear a lot of sounds from the fair walking into the stadium.
You heard a lot of people having fun over there, but there weren't a lot of people having fun here at Williams-Brice Stadium
This was a
today.
fair of a different kind.
It was a circus, not a fair. But again, you got to tip your hat to Oklahoma. They came in first road game of the year for them. First time some of these guys have played in a SEC road environment, and they played. My compliments to them. They played extremely good, winning football today.
Yeah, Venables, you know, he's very complimentary of this crowd. He said he has been down here several times, and he was when they were, you know, at Clemson. So he knew what to expect.
So reporting for Cox Sports Broadcasting and Lindy Sports, he's Coach Toney. I'm Coach Cox. Let's go get a candy apple.
Hey, let's go get one.
Raise your hands when you get there.
And I don't know what to say about that one. Pretty disappointing. Apologize to our fans. Asked them to show up. They certainly did their part and early in the game and were loud and nowhere near good enough to win. Questions?
Let's go to Jackie. Go ahead, Dean. Go ahead, Jackie. Go ahead, Dean. You got it.
Shane, just looking at some of the play calling, keep running into the same line against that great defensive front. Just did you guys think that you would eventually break through? Just what was the plan?
Yeah, we knew there were going to be some ugly runs. Look, this is a really good defense. They're 1 or 2 in the country and everything. And when you're missing 3 offensive line starters, and then 3 of your offensive line starters from today's game go out, it's not ideal, David. But yes, you know, we needed to get the ball in the perimeter. We did that on the first play of the game. We needed to get the ball out in space. We did that with some of the perimeter throws to receivers, but not being able to, you know, line up and run the ball downhill like we need to certainly was a challenge to do that today.
Jackie, go ahead.
Shane in the middle here. It's 7 games now. The offense has just continued to struggle. at some point, do you feel like a change is needed, whether it's?
I made a change last week, Jack.
No,
and
no,
then
I'm talking about the play calling.
Every week we're continuing to look at how to be better, and every week I do that. And every week I will continue to do that and continue to evaluate that.
What gives you hope that the play
Next question.
calling- okay.
Jordan.
What gives me hope? I see the way we practice during the week. What gives me hope? I see the number of guys that we had out today that I wasn't even sure was going to be able to play, that fought their asses off to get back out there and get healthy and be able to play today. What gives me hope? I know the talent we have on our offense. And what I just told our team, we're not playing up to our potential right now. I am not getting the most out of this team right now, offensively, defensively, and special teams. Was going to be able to play today. We didn't know if Brandon Cisse was going to be able to play today. We didn't know if Monkel Goodwine was going to be able to play today. Vakari Swain breaks his finger in practice on Wednesday and has to have surgery on Wednesday night and is out there catching punts today. Marquis Anderson wasn't sure he was going to be able to play. I mean, our guys, they played their guts all out and played their butts off and hurt for them because they're fighting and proud of those guys, but we just weren't good enough in any area today.
Go right.
On a positive note for today, Jaden Sellers had a really great showing today, 57 yards total. What was it like for you to see him out there and doing work on the field today?
Yeah, proud of him. He's a really good football player. He got an opportunity today because Brian Rowe wasn't available today. So Jaden got an opportunity, and that's what happens. It's the next man up, and I thought he did a great job. He's been practicing the right way. He brings some juice to the offense. He's a competitor and like the way that he practices. And when you practice the right way, you get opportunities on Saturdays.
Go over the left tail.
You guys obviously had high expectations for yourselves coming into the season, and at this point,
Still do.
Well, so how do you keep the players thinking that way and believing in?
You know, I mean, I just told them in the locker room, Hale, my goal, when people ask me, and you guys have asked me this before, and I'll tell you the same answer, what's the goal for this season? What's a successful season? To get the most out of this team. And right now, I'm not getting the most out of this team as the head football coach. And it's back to work tomorrow to continue to see if we can maximize the ability and the potential on this year's team. So I see the way that our guys are competing. I see the way that our guys are working. We've got to get healthy. I mean, give Oklahoma credit, they kicked our butts, but the injuries that we had today was tough to begin with, down some guys, and then to have guys go out in the game and our guys continue to fight. I got to be able to do more to help them as the head coach, and we as coaches got to continue to do more to help them. But we got the right culture in our building, and that's what gives me hope.
I know it can be kind of hard to evaluate Lenoris when he's under pressure like he was today, but how would you evaluate how he was able to handle that pressure, and what are, I guess, kind of ways in the future?
I do some today. I mean, they do a good job defensively, so, you know, none of us were good enough, and he statistically, you know, made some nice runs and did a nice job throwing the ball. I'm sure he'll be the first to tell you maybe missed some, but thought he, you know, gave us an opportunity.
Dick.
I know you hadn't seen the film yet, though, but can you talk a little bit about not being able to convert a third down until the fourth quarter?
Yeah, that's, I looked up one time, Dick, I think we were 0 for 10, maybe. That's not ideal, to say the least, particularly with with our depth on defense and being down guys. So no, we knew this was going to be an ugly game in a lot of ways. Nobody has scored points on these guys, and we expected it to be a 4-quarter fist fight. And you've got to be able to sustain drives and stay on the field, and we weren't able to do that. And disappointing too on some of the short yardage where we weren't able to finish drives and convert in short yardage situations.
Bill.
Two for you real quick. The thinking on passing up on the field goal very early in the game when you went for it. And is Brian Rowe injured?
Passed up on the field goal because we were down there, I think it was the 4-yard line maybe. I'm thinking that we had a call that we felt would be good on 4th down. I mean, I told Mike on 1st down, you got 4 downs to get this. I knew I was going to go for it on 4th down regardless. One, wanted a touchdown, felt like we were down there, we had a nice drive going, and I wanted to make a statement about that. 2, And then two, went for it, that knowing that if we don't get it, they're backed up and they got to go over. They're down there by the cockpit, our student section, and they're and it's loud down there, and they're on the road, and it's their first true road game this season in an SEC environment. So felt like if we didn't, I told Clayton that, hey, we're going for it, and if not, we got to go out there and put the ball down. We got them right where we want them, backed up, and let's go get a stop. Brian Rowe, Anthony Addison, and Devontae Miles were suspended today. I made that decision for a violation of team standards. Accountability is the core value of our program, and whether you're 3-3 or 6-0, the core values and the accountability doesn't change. So disappointing for them, disappointing for us. Selfish decisions that certainly affected our team today because we needed that, but they're good kids that will learn from this hopefully and respond the right way. And I would anticipate them being back next week. And again, that was my decision.
Back in, then went out again. Any update on him?
Got a hip, both times. Hip, thought he could go. He went back in the second time, and I guess got hit on it again. I don't have much of an update, David, other than just hip injury.
John?
Shane, I know by looking at the stats, Oklahoma's defense is very good in terms of tackles for loss, but what were y'all doing today to try to get the ball out of Lenore's hands a little bit more quickly?
All the game plan all week was to be able to run the ball. Felt like we had some runs that would give us an opportunity to be successful and be efficient and stay ahead of the chains. Wanted to get the ball on the perimeter, like I just said. The first play of the game was a jet sweep to Nick Harbor. We came back later in the game and tried that. We wanted to be able to, not so much RPOs, but kind of RPOs, or run the ball, and if it's not there, you kick the ball out in space to receivers, which is what we were able to do. And then we wanted to, got some quick game in there. We had some empty. We went empty on a tempo play early in the game to try and spread them out. And I know it may not look like it, John, but we're not sitting here trying to bang our head against the wall and run into a tight box every single time. We tried to do a lot of different things and give them credit. Coach Venables is a great defensive coach, and they've got a great scheme. And it's why, I think, Texas scored, one touchdown against them last week outside of a punt return and a couple field goals, and it's why Michigan didn't score much on them and Auburn didn't score on them. They're freaking good on defense. Having said that, we weren't good enough, and we did not maximize the potential of this offense today, or defense, or special teams, because we all had a hand in this one.
Go back.